The district has made deep cuts because voters keep rejecting property tax levies to finance education.
What's the most important single thing we can do in education to change those outcomes that I just talked about? And I'm convinced it's investing in high-quality early childhood education.
I still would like to think that at some point we can get it fixed, get a good funding system in place that's equitable for everybody, makes it every kid in Ohio have access to the things that they need to have access to. And if that can happen, I think it'll be a success.
Imagine your education being taken away from you, only because your state funded your schools by using majority property taxes. Over a span of nearly 20 years, the issue of unconstitutional funding has been neglected in many cases. However, it has been found by the Ohio Supreme Court in the case Day-Rolfe versus State that the way Ohio schools are funded is unconstitutional. But the unconstitutional funding for schools, according to the judicial branch, that the way it has been funded has not changed.
Our system of school funding over-relies in many respects on local property taxes. So local property taxes, for example, in Ohio account for over half of all educational funding. That's more than federal and state money combined.
School districts get money from their local communities in the form of property taxes. They'll also get money from the state, and the state might give them money through multiple formulas. And then a portion, a much smaller portion, about 9 or 10%, comes from the federal government.
I think it would be a lot easier if they just tried to focus on one source of gathering the income rather than various means.
You know, if you look at every one of the Supreme Court rulings, they all say that the over-reliance on property taxes is unconstitutional, and you still have districts all over the state of Ohio that are continuing to have to go back to the ballot, try to raise more money, and you know, that's where the ultimate problem I think comes in.
I think the issue with the way schools are funded is that the money comes from so many various different sources.
Our schools manage to fund by using multiple sources of income, money from the state, federal government, and the rest from property taxes. This setup is supposed to ensure schools are fully funded, but the Ohio Supreme Court has said that this system is unconstitutional.
That a child, no matter where they live, no matter what the wealth of the district, has the right, as we feel, to be able to compete with a child in every other district, regardless of wealth.
I think the funding is affecting the community, in our community, in a negative way, because in the area that we are in, we are not of the highest of wages in general, and I think that it leads to the schools not being able to offer a lot of additional programming for children.
Although many wealthy counties can afford the new taxes from levies, poor counties fail to pass these levies for education due to the lack of money. And because of the lack of money, many schools do not have the supplies to teach kids to the fullest extent, which leave the students in a poorer learning environment than those in wealthier counties.
If you have to still keep going back to the ballot to voters, and in an economy like we're in right now, they aren't going to pass those.
But I think that they should look at, obviously changing that and evening up different school districts so there aren't some that exceed far beyond others simply because they have more money.
The educational system right now is sending kids down a very liberal pathway that makes them unaccountable for a lot of things they do, and it also doesn't educate them to the fullest, and they're turning out not to be the best citizens they can be.
There are just some kids that are left behind. They need more resources than other children based on various issues.
There's a lot of more kids dropping out of school now, and who are becoming a detriment on society and the taxpayers, because basically, they'll end up not being able to find jobs or anything.
So how do we change the odds? Where should we invest to change?
We need to better our funding systems for generations of students to come. If Ohio school funding stays the way it does, students' test scores will suffer, and so will the state. We cannot keep down this path and let this funding remain unchanged. United, we can make a difference. United, we can give students a better education in school.